Hey, what's up? This is Zero Kazama, and you're watching channelapa.com. Long story. It started with like an audition. I guess MTV was doing like a national audition for the thing, and I went for it. I was really sick of the auditioning process at that point. It was just, I was either getting really, stereotypical, buy me drinky kind of roles, but not, that extreme. So I was like, how can I really have fun with this audition? I mean, the whole thing is, sometimes they mask the real project by setting up like a fake audition. So this one revolved around a game show involving ninjas. And they wanted some guy that was knowledgeable in ninjas talking about, ninjas were a breed of warriors long ago and da-da-da, and wanted to be matter-of-factly about it. But instead, I got a little book and got a really weird anime drawing of a ninja and slapped it in there and put an arrow pointing to it saying ninja. I was like thinking, how can I screw off this audition as much as possible? So I go, and they're expecting very formal, it's just like ninjas or da-da-da-da-da-da, and talk about the contestants. So I just went, these are what ninjas look like. They're no longer here, but they can probably kick the ass of any of the fat-ass contestants that are on the show. Something like that. Just went hyper-dramatic, overboard. Didn't hear from them for like a few months. And I was working on this project called Dark Island, which is, I think, going to release like sometime by the end of this year. And while we're in the middle of freaking nowhere on the westernmost edge of Vancouver Island, I get a notice saying, hey, you booked the part. They need you in New York. I'm like, not gonna happen. It's like hard enough getting cell phone reception or internet access here. I mean, the town population was probably like less than 1,000, and they all knew we were there by, I don't know, the day after we got there. But somehow, like, the producers and the other producers, like, figured something out, and they flew me out over there, completely ragged, just living like animals in the kind of like rainforest. And then we shot the pilot. And then they flew me back, we finished the movie, and a few months later they're just like, okay, you got picked up for 20 episodes. Like, oh, nice. I wish I could say yes, but you know what? Like, my goal was to come here and work on like feature films, kind of like sci-fi action stuff. That's the stuff I'm really interested in. And I thought it would, but after getting no work as a result, I finally realized, you know what, I don't want to put MTV down, I'm not, but it's just the fact that I don't think casting directors that are casting for features go on MTV. Because, they're mostly reality now, so I don't think they're looking for dramatic leads there, so, yeah, not much. Yeah, I'm actually flying out to New York on the 28th, about a week from now. I think they're going a bit more extreme and a bit more creative. Like, they didn't even tell me any details, but they told me something about Ron Jeremy doing a prank. I don't know what they're gonna do, but hey, sounds awesome. The only one I got like a significant part in is Dark Island, produced by Epic Pictures, directed by Nico Perringer and Sam Gorski, produced by Eric Lim. Yeah, it's basically, how would I say it, a team has to try and find another reconnaissance team where they've been doing biological testing, and basically everything goes to crap from there. See, that's like a multi-layered question, because it's kind of like I'm trying to direct my career depending on like what kind of intentions I want to fulfill, and ultimately, like, as an actor, I really want to progress Asian Americans to actually be accepted as Americans instead of films that just incidentally, we need the Japanese guy, or we need to fill a stereotypical greedy banker, or something along that line. I mean, you go to the UK, you ask anybody's ethnicity, even like an African person, ask them what's your ethnicity, they'll be British. And I think we're getting to the point where it's kind of like that in the States. I mean, African Americans don't identify with Africa, and with Asian Americans, we're getting to the point where the generations are so disconnected where they're pretty much just Americans. They don't speak a lick of their native language, they're not familiar with the culture at all. And I don't think mainstream America really has that in their head yet, that we're full-blown Americans at this point. A lot of things, you know. Going back to film, just like directing, that was like my first short film. I found out about it a week before it was due, and something told me, like, I gotta make this. And there's a cool story why I had to make it too. I was writing a blog called Leaps of Faith, and it basically dealt with how early in our career, where you're kind of like, we just let go and just hope things work out. And once things do work out, we think we can micromanage it. And then crap kind of goes like downhill usually, because you're like trying to be so controlling, right? So it's just about just letting go and just having faith and just keeping release no matter where your level of success is. I needed to find a picture that related to that blog. So I put in Leap of Faith. And the first thing was Altair from Assassin's Creed doing the Leap of Faith, you know, where he jumps off into the bale of hay. And it linked to the competition information. And I was like, should I make this? And through that chain of events, I was like, it would be really illogical not to. I don't know, just something told me I had to do it. So wrote the script in about an hour, then started shooting 2 days later. Like on the first day, I didn't know who was going to come in the next day, but somehow it all worked out. Got it edited, scored, everything was done. And for me, that really just made me realize that I think I probably could direct. And my whole thing is, I think the young generation now, they're lacking good role models in terms of like stories or heroes or whatever. Like, it might just be me, but like the younger generation, they have like this sense of entitlement, but they don't want to live up to it. And I think we need like archetypal stories or figures that can kind of transmit like the consciousness that you need to live up to what you want. And you have to leave a lesser self behind. You know, they're classical stories, but I definitely like to get involved in projects that kind of tell those kind of tales. I have two kinds of movies that I like. One with like heavy morals, you know, it's deep, makes you think. And I'm not gonna lie, I like Transformers. You know, it's just like people are like, there was no story. Who cares? It's like you're just like entertained for the entire 2.5 hours. You know what I mean? So I'll definitely, if it's possible, like to mix the two together. Make something with like an awesome storyline that tells a great story, teaches people something, you know, almost on like a subconscious level, coming out of the movie feeling like they learned something about themselves and about life, and also just mix in crazy amounts of like ridiculous action.